Today's lesson is a continuation of what we did last class, so we need for you to be really strong at writing the equation from a point and a slope before we can move on to what we're going to do here next. So on the first page of our notes, it's a review of writing the equation from a point and a slope. So it says step 1, just like we did last time, you label this slope that they give you as an m. Then they give you an x coordinate and a y coordinate. So we start by labeling the m, the x, and the y. Then we plug it into the slope intercept form. So slope intercept form is the equation that we have right here. This is called slope intercept form because it has a slope and it has a y-intercept. So if we look at our first example, it says write the equation of a line that passes through 2, 4 and has the slope of 3. So it says the slope is 3, so my m is the number 3. Then it says it passes through the point. The point is an x value and it's a y value. So I'm going to draw my information box so that way I can keep track of all of my information. My m is the number 3. My b, I don't know. None of these are the y-intercept, so we have to solve for b. So what you did last time is you took this equation and you plugged in the pieces that we do know. We know that the y value is a 4. We know that the m is a 3. We know that x is 2. And I have no clue what b is. So this is the equation y equals mx plus b. To solve this, 3 times 2 is 6. Get b by itself by subtracting 6. 4 minus 6 is the number -2. So we just found out that this line, if you were to graph 2, 4, and it had a slope of up 3/1, it would look like this. So that's the line that goes through 2, 4, and it has a slope of up 3/1. This line, we just found out, has a y-intercept of -2. So we solved for y, and we get that my y-intercept is -2. Now that I have an m and a b, I can write the equation, which is y equals mx plus b minus 2, so I have a -2 there. Okay, so go ahead and try number 1. See if you can get the same thing for number 1. So in this one here, my y value is a 6 equals my 2 for my slope times my x value is a 3 plus b. 2 times 3 is 6 plus b. We get b by itself by subtracting 6 on both sides. 6 minus 6 is 0, which is fine. It just means the b value is a 0. So in my information box, I had that the m was 2, and I just solved and found out b is 0. So my equation is y equals 2x plus 0, which is the same thing as just saying y equals 2x. Okay, let's try the same thing. Let's go to number 4. So in number 4, same thing. We have an x and a y. Then we have an m, which is labeled for my slope. So the equation is y equals m times x plus b. 1 times 4 is 4. Get your b by itself by subtracting this constant. So b is -4. Information box, my slope it had said was 1. My b I just found out is -4. We put it all together and my equation is y equals 1x minus 4. Very, very easy. go ahead and continue through this page. You are writing the equation of a line given a point and a slope. Okay, when you're ready, let's flip over to our next question. It's a little blurry, but we'll make it work. So this time we are going to write the equation from 2 points, and then on the last table we're going to write the equation from a table. So in this here, in example number 1, I have 2 ordered pairs. I could graph them 2, 5, 3, 7, and they would make a line. But when I have 2 ordered pairs, I have no idea what the slope is by just looking at this information, and I have no idea what the y-intercept is. So when we are writing the equation from 2 points, I don't have an m yet, nor do I have a b. So it says step 1, first we need to find the slope, put that number in the information box, then we're going to solve for b. So we need to remember, to find the slope, the equation is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That is the slope formula. That would always be on a formula chart. That is the change in y over the change in x's. So to find the slope, it is useful to label, this is x, this is y. This is x, this is y. These come first, these come second. So when I plug it into the equation, my y2, here it is, y2 is the number 7. I'm going to move it over here so we have room. So y2 is a 7. Minus y1 is a 5 over x2 minus x1. 7 minus 5 is the number 2. 3 minus 2 is the number 1. 2 divided by 1 is just 2. So the m of this equation is a 2. So we are halfway done. We now have the slope of our line. So now that we have our slope, we need to find our y-intercept. So what we did to find the y-intercept is we used the equation y equals mx plus b. So we use the slope-intercept form to be able to solve for b. So it doesn't matter which ordered pair you pick. Doesn't matter. I'm going to pick the first one just because it came first. So I'm going to say we use 2, 5, and I now know that the slope is a 2. I take my information, I take my point, and I take my slope. You just did this. You said that the y value equals the m value times the x value plus b. To get b by itself, we subtract 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. So now that we've figured out my slope is a 2, my b is a 1, the equation of my line is y equals 2x plus 1. So let's try that exact same process for number 2. Then you're going to try a few on your own. Number 2, I don't have a slope. I don't have a y-intercept. So I start with my slope formula, which we're going to write down so that way we might remember it. Change in y over the change in x. Okay, equation y2. My y2 is the number 5. Minus my y1 is a 4. Over x2 minus x1. 5 minus 4 is a 1. 8 minus 6 is a 2. My slope is a 1 over 2. I found the slope of the line first, because in those 2 points, I had no idea what the M was, and I had no idea what the B was. So I found the slope first. Now that I have this, I'm going to use my slope-intercept form to figure out the B. So the first, it doesn't matter which point you choose. Either one will give you the same answer. So I know I have a point, 6, 4. It goes through that point. I know it for sure. I know that my slope is a 1/2. We just calculated that. I know that this is x, this is y, and the 1/2 is my m. So I plug it in. Start with a y. The y value is a 4. M x plus b. 1/2 of 6 is 3 plus b. We get b by itself by subtracting 3 on both sides. 4 minus 3 is 1. So I just solved for b. I have an m. I now have a b. So the equation of my line is y equals 1/2 x plus 1. Easy. So easy. Go ahead and try the rest of this page. In number 4, be very careful with your negatives. When you're calculating your slope on number 4, be very, very, very careful with those negatives. Okay, so when you are doing the rest of this page, go ahead and get your slope and your y-intercept. When you are ready, let's go ahead and flip to the final page of today. Okay, so in number 5, we have a table. Again, this table does not give us the slope, and it does not give us the y-intercept. So when you did this unit and you were finding the slope from a table, we said that there were 2 ways that you can do it. So in the first example, in number 5, I'll show you one way to get the slope, and then in number 6, I can show you the other way, and you can pick which way you prefer to get the slope from a table. So in number 5, what we know is that the slope is the change in y over the change in x. So I found 2 y values, I found 2 x values. So my change in y, from a 3 to a 7, how much did it change? It went up 4 units. So my change in y is a positive 4. My x increased 1 unit. So the slope of this line, my m, is 4 over 1, which is the same as the number 4. So I just found out that the slope is a 4. Again, to get the b, we use our equation y equals mx plus b. I'm going to pull off a point from this table. We'll pick 2, 3. That's a point. And I know that my m is 4 because we just found out that it rises 4 over 1, which is the same as 4. So now that I have a point and I have a slope, I can plug it into the point. I can plug it into this equation, my slope-intercept form. So my y value is 3, my m is 4, my x is 2, plus b. 4 times 2 is 8, plus b. To get b by itself, we subtract 8 from both sides. 3 minus 8 is the number negative 5. So the equation of my line, I now have a slope and I have a y-intercept. Okay, let's try the same thing for number 2. We get the slope first, then we plug all of our pieces into the slope-intercept form so we can solve for b. Number 6, let's use that same method for right now. Okay, so in number 6, we're going to use the same method. So in number 6, Pick 2 points, but pick the positive ones. Pick the easy ones. It doesn't matter which 2 points you pick, so don't pick the ones that have negatives. That makes life more confusing. So let's pick our positive points. From a 4 to a 16, that is the same as increasing 12. From a 0 to an 8, that increases 8. I could check that by doing y2 minus y1, which is 12, x2 minus x1, which is 8. So we said the slope is the change in y over the change in x. That reduces 12 over 8 reduces to 6 over 4, which reduces to 3 over 2. So I know that my slope is 3 over 2. Well, would you look at this? So in this table, this is really good to know. What we need to know is that this point right here is extremely important. I have the point 0, 4. 0, 4 has a number in the y spot with a 0 in the x spot. If you graphed 0, 4, it's right here. 0, 4 is a y-intercept. Oh, look. It's a number in the back of a 0. My b is 4. They gave us the y-intercept on that table. How nice of them. So my equation is y equals my slope, which is 3 over 2x, plus b, which is 4. Not too bad. Try number 7. Pick nice numbers. The change in y, nice positive numbers, over the change in x. Last but not least, let's look at number 8. So in number 8, it's a little bit more difficult to find the change in y over the change in x because we have some negatives, and I know that some of us struggle figuring out adding and subtracting in your head when there's negatives here. So what I would suggest when you have a table with lots of negatives, just pull off those points. Negative 2, 5, 3, negative 5. And then just go back to your old-fashioned y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So my y2 is negative 5 minus my y1 is 5. x2 minus x1. Be careful. Negative 5 minus 5 is the number negative 10. This here is a minus negative, so when we have a minus with a negative, it turns it into a plus sign. 3 plus 2 is the number 5. Negative 10 over 5 is the number negative 2. So I calculated the slope this way because there were negatives. I just pulled off 2 points, and then I used the slope formula to figure out that my m is negative 2. So now that I have an m, I go back to my slope-intercept form so that I can solve for b. So you can pick either point, any of the points, doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer either time. So negative 2, 5 with an m value that we got was negative 2. So I plug it in. Y equals m x plus b. M times x, negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4, plus b. Get b by itself by subtracting 4. So now that we have a slope and we have a y-intercept, the equation of my line is y equals negative 2x plus 1. Okay? Writing the equation of a line from 2 points and writing the equation of a line from a table are both very, very important. Not too bad.